So Keanu, how are you? I'm so excited to be here today. I'm so excited to see you, boo. How's everything? How's
Everything's
life?
good. Everything's good.
I know it's been a minute, but I'm so excited to be here today and get to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Just catching up, friend to a friend. I'm so excited to have you here and, be able to work with you and talk to you about all your big accomplishments. You have a lot to be proud of.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
I'm so happy for you. And I feel like we should just get started and just
Okay.
talk about you and just tell me how's life been so far.
Everything's good. I mean, I graduated already. I'm working. I'm just working on the music. That's like my main focus. Everything's great. So.
That's great. And speaking of music,
Mm-hmm.
you have a new single coming out,
Mm-hmm.
right? Adore You.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you most excited about for this release?
I feel like the most exciting part about this is just actually releasing the song, because I've actually worked on it for like over a year now, and just finally releasing it, it's gonna be like, it's like dropping off your kid at school for the first time ever. That's what it feels like.
So how long have you been preparing the song for?
I started working on the song, I think like June 2021, and I finished it like July 2022. So it took me like a whole year to like actually finish the song.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing. That's incredible because, instead of just rushing through it, you decide to take your time, and I think that's really impressive.
Yeah, I feel like what was different about this song was that I actually took my time and I actually worked on it. I feel like I always had to like build on the song. I feel like it was never finished at certain points. I feel like I could make it better. So that's why it took me a whole year to actually finish the song and be like, okay, now it's ready to be released.
So what really inspired you to even write this track? If you don't mind getting personal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when it comes to my writing process, I usually get inspired with everything that I'm going through. And whenever I'm meeting a new person or just like dealing with different situations, I like to get inspiration from what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. It's not like I necessarily write about that specific person or situation, but I get that emotion and I use that emotion to actually build and make a song.
Well, I think that's really great because I think music is written to make sure your audience can feel inspired and be able to resonate with you. And I think that's great that it doesn't always have to necessarily be about one person, but it could be a situation that everyone can relate to. Whether that's about friendship, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the situation may be. And I think that's really cool and I'm really excited to hear it. You said that, you kept wanting to change the song.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're figuring out how to change the song and what to add and what not to add, how do you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm done, I have to release it, I need to like get this off my chest?
It's not only, I feel like the first thing is like people actually telling me to drop music, because as you know, like the last time I ever dropped anything music related was in April of last year, my collaboration with my friend Jewel, and then soon after that, it was April, and then like 2 months after that I started working on Adore You. So initially I wanted to drop music, a song every 2 months, but I felt like after dropping the singles, I sort of started to realize what I wanted to put out and the quality that I wanted to put out. So that is why it took me so long to like make the song. And when I first drafted the song, I drafted the first verse and the first chorus, and I started building on it, and I think it was like this summer, I was like, okay, it's been a year since I've had this song on me and I still haven't released it. Like it has to come out at some point, because I feel like at some point people are not going to care about the story, or I've moved on so past from that feeling that I'm not going to want to release it. So once I added everything that I needed to add to it, like the background vocals, the layers, the riffs and all that stuff, I was like, okay, now it's good to go, and then it's perfected.
And that's really interesting because I know you said your inspiration comes from your situations that you've been through and personal experiences. But when you're sitting down and actually writing the song, right? Where do you feel most at home? Like, do you write your song walking through the park? Do you write your song sitting at home? Do you write your song in your room? Where does all this creativity really flow through you, and what's that process like for you? Because I think it's so interesting to see everyone's creative process and how they really make the song come to life, and then once they release it, you're like, wow, I wonder like what their thought process behind that was, or I wonder like the mental space they were in, or what they went through, or things along those lines, and how they got to where they are. And then just to see that growth, I think is like incredible. So can you expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, I feel like, at least for me, I like to write music anywhere. I mean, sometimes I'm walking to my job, I'm like working out, and I'm listening to an instrumental or a beat, and I just I start mumbling things out. Like I don't really sit down ever and like start like writing songs. I never write songs before hearing the beat. I feel like I need to hear the beat before anything. But where I feel the most at home is obviously like where I go to bed, like my bedroom or in the shower, and I'm just like thinking of like the lyrics. So if I recorded like a mumble, I'm in the shower and I'm like adding to it, and I'm like, okay, this could be the lyrics for it. What I like to do, I literally stop the shower, I close it, and I go on my phone and I record the voice note. But it's usually my house because I spend, I feel mostly comfortable and I feel safe here. So.
Do you sing in the shower?
Of course I do. I do.
I sing in the shower too, but I don't sound as good as you.
No.
Once you release Adore You, do you have kind of a vision of where you want your career to take you and what that path is going to look like?
I feel like when it comes to my career, I just wanted to just flow the way it should be. I don't like setting myself to have expectations just because when you do that, you may cause yourself to be afraid of not reaching that expectation. So when it comes to the next thing after Adore You, I do have so not only was I working on Adore You for a whole year, I was actually working on an album for a whole year. So I do have an album drafted up. Like I have 10 songs ready to go. But again, just like Adore You took 1 year, if I'm going to start doing an album rollout or EP rollout, it's going to take a while for it to be completely released. But I do have at least 1 or 2 more singles that are going to be coming out after Adore You.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And what can we expect from those 2 songs? Without giving too much away, because I know you want it to be a surprise, can we expect a little bit more storytelling, or what type of direction do you think you would like that to go?
At least when it comes to the other single, I feel like the singles are always going to be storytelling, one way or another. I think the overall theme of the music that I make is just heartbreak. And I like to think of heartbreak that it comes in different shapes. You can get a heartbreak from your friends, your families, or a love interest. So that is one of the things that I like to focus on, is just heartbreak and just being disappointed by a certain, situation. And also, you can cause a heartbreak on other people, and that is the theme of the second song. It's about doing wrong to other people and just avoiding the fact that you hurt somebody. So yeah, that is the theme.
Wow,
Yeah.
that was deep. It just made me do some self-reflection right there. I think that's really amazing, because I don't know many artists that are able to do that self-reflection, especially just in general with our generation and just people generally in life. A lot of us don't like to admit what we did wrong and don't like to really own up to what we did, and I think it's really admirable of you to be able to say like, hey, I hurt people too, and that's something I need to acknowledge. And I think it's really interesting to see the growth of you, not only as an artist but as a person, since you're a close friend of mine, to see that you were at this place of hurt, but you could be like, okay, I've learned from this, I know I want to grow from this now, and how can I avoid making those same mistakes, but how can I avoid making those mistakes onto other people?
Yeah.
And I think that's something you should be really proud of.
Yeah, and I feel like when it comes to that kind of stuff, it takes a while to actually become aware of what you've done to other people, and we often think ourselves as the victim, as the ones that got the wrong done to them. But when it came to me, I had to mature myself to get to this point where I feel like, okay, I've hurt my friends, I've said things that I should have not said. How do I come to terms to the fact that I was also the villain of the stories that I've created,
So what was that kind of switch for you to be like, okay, like, I know I've hurt people before, I know that I've done, I've made mistakes, and it's okay, we're all human, right? What made you get to that point? Like, what did you have any like kind of light bulb switch in your head that you were like, okay, I want to write about this, and this is what happened, and I recognize that and I acknowledge that for my own self-reflection?
I think for me, it was mostly you start noticing people drifting away from you. When you start thinking about, why is this person no longer here, or did I do something about this? So you kind of start realizing that words do hurt. And I've had many moments in my life where I've said things that were inappropriate or were out of line, and I felt like I needed to change that. And I've reached out to people and I apologized for the things that I've done to them. And there was also a moment, I think it was last year, that you and I were like working on a song for you, and there was this line that it was something about your line. I forgot how your line went, but it was about the cracks that you created, and so I thought that line that when you wrote that, it actually created the song, like the second single. It made me, from that I built a song out of the cracks that I've done on other people. So I actually have a similar line in the song. So yeah, which I've never told you.
I'm an inspiration.
Yes.
I'm so happy. I'm a little piece.
No, but it's just it takes a while, and even now I still am realizing that there's still steps to take. It's not something that you can just like, oh, I'm a different person than I was 6 months ago. It just takes time. And even if you apologize to people, an apology may not be enough. You know, you already did what you did, so it's like it can't fix everything that you've done before. So
of course. And I think that I'm like honored that like I kind of inspired you.
Yeah, and honestly, it was like very inspiring. Just like writing with somebody else is truly inspiring, and it's like seeing things from another perspective. And again, since I was writing something with you, it allowed me to see things from another perspective, and I had to switch my perspective of me being the victim, and me being the villain. That's where it came from.
Right, and you know, it's so interesting because your songwriting process is like amazing, and I wanted to give you so much credit for that, because I know when we were writing my song, you were so patient, and I just saw like your creativity flow like right in front of my eyes, and I was like, wow, this is so amazing. Where is he coming up with this? Where are these ideas coming from? Like, this is so cool. So tell me a little bit about that, like your songwriting process. Like, how did you get to that point and that place in your life where you were easily be able to get like creativity? And like in the beginning when you were evolving as an artist, was songwriting really hard for you? Because when we were in the studio together, you made it so natural and made it seem so easy, and I was like, wow, okay, so this is what the real stuff is like.
Yeah, I feel like every artist will tell you that it's a struggle just to go through anything, because there's so many stories that you can tell, and a lot of people go through the same stuff. It's just finding a way how to tell it from your own perspective and making it unique, and it's a learning curve. Like, you can, you know, start writing something. I have Traumatized. Like, I wrote later on like four drafts of 4 different songs later on, and Traumatized was the one that connected with people the most. A lot of people like who I went to high school with had reached out to me, and they expressed that the song was really relatable to what they went through. So it's interesting to think that the writing process that I went through to create my song was able to connect with, you know, anybody else. But when it comes to my writing process, I start from mumbles. Everything is like I create the flow and the melody of how the song is going to be structured, and then I fit in the words for it. People do it differently, but that is the way that I feel the most comfortable with. So I never have an idea coming into a song. I just let it create itself.
Oh, wow. And what do you hope your audience can get from that, from every song that you write? Like, I'm sure you must have felt super honored and like a little moment when, you know, people told you that they could relate to your song, because that's something that's like amazing, something you could be proud of, because you could, you know, songwriting and just releasing a song, that's extremely vulnerable, and being able to express your feelings, express your situations. So what do you want your audience to get from you, from your music? Do you want them to really relate to you, or what makes you happy when it comes to your audience and listening to your music?
At least for me, it's the feeling of letting go. I think that's the most important thing out of just releasing a song. It's not only letting go of the song, but letting go of that certain chapter that I've gone through. It's like closing it off and then just letting the world take it and understand it the way they want to interpret the song. So that is usually what I like to do. Once I'm releasing a song, it's like, okay, I'm just shipping this package to the world. That's it.
And have you ever had a fan experience that, you know, really resonated with you, or something that a fan maybe has said to you that you're like, wow, like that really hit me?
I had a girl, I think she's Polish or like Russian, and she had created like a Keanu fan page, and it was really funny.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, the funny part about that, the whole thing was that she had messaged me, and she was like, I thought that you were a bigger artist. which was really funny. I mean, it was a compliment. She was like, I thought you were bigger artist, because the quality of the music. So it just made me realize that, I'm putting out something that at least somebody across the world is finding interesting enough to make a fan page. Not knowing who I am, not seeing no interviews, not seeing no content. It's just the music. That alone got them to create something for me, and like to just put out content about me was really like it made me emotional, because I'm like, why do you want to do this for me? Like, but I felt the love, so that was good.
That's really amazing, and I think you will always continue to feel the love with this new single on your album. And you have your family and your friends that really support you. So we just listened to the song "Adore You." I'm so excited. That was so fucking hype. Am I allowed to curse? That was so freaking incredible. I'm so proud of you. It sounds great. Boo, we need to get into these lyrics.
Okay, let's go. Let's do that.
I need to ask you a couple questions because you spilled some tea over here.
Right.
And I need to know. So, honestly, when I heard the song, I related to it like so much. So, right off the bat, I was like, this is going to be like a hit because so many people could relate to this situation and relate to this. So, you did a really good job with that. So, the first lyric that I really want to talk to you about is you said, I don't know what you're going to choose. Is it more lies or the truth? I died inside. What happened? No, we don't have to get personal, but I'm saying, do you want to dive more deep into what those lyrics mean to you and how you really came up with those?
Yeah, I mean, for that specific line, I feel like when you're getting to know anybody, I feel like a lot of people get into their heads. So that's where I was coming from. Like, do you want to listen to your insecurities, or do you want to listen to me? Like, you could be feeling like I'm not, trying to get to know you or not being the right person, but my actions should definitely be telling you something different. That's what I'm saying. Like, do you want to listen, to me, or, the lies or the truth? What is it that you want to do? Like,
wow.
Yeah.
And what about, you said, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I do without you. So, do you know what you want? Because you just said, I don't know what I do without you.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you want.
I think that's the whole thing about just whenever you're talking to somebody and then you feel like things are not like stable enough that you feel secure about what's going on. Like, I don't know if I really want this, but at the same time I feel like I don't want to lose you and I want you to be here, but maybe it's not the best for either of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like you spoke to a lot of situationships out there in our generation right now. I feel like a lot of people in our generation right now really go through that, where they kind of want to commit to someone, but then they're scared of commitment and they don't really know what to do, and they're like in this confusion. And that's why I was saying to you, a lot of people are going to be able to relate to that, to be able to be vulnerable, and doing that is a really scary thing. And it's about taking that risk, and you don't want to make a mistake, and you don't want to fall for the wrong person. So I think a lot of people are going to be thinking about a lot of things when listening to your song, but really enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like that's just any part of whenever you're getting to know somebody that may not be the best person for you, because I feel like when somebody is right, like and meant for you, everything should run smoothly. I think whenever you feel like you're not connecting, or you're not talking, or you're not opening up to a specific person, maybe things are not working, and it may never work. But that's my perspective on it. I'm not saying that's factual,
No, I completely agree with you. I think a lot of things, I think a healthy relationship or a healthy transition has to deal with, not having so many bumps in the road, but at the same time, I don't know, it's very so contradictory, because I think if you could go through a lot of bumps and get through it, then maybe your relationship is strong enough to last.
Exactly.
And your bond. But I think it goes both ways. So I really agree with your perspective. Another lyric I really wanted to touch base on is you said, but you're not by my side. My happiness has been denied. So can you expand a little bit on that too? I think, when you said happiness has been denied, to me, it really resonated with just a lot of situations in general. We as human beings tend to pour so much of our love and our support and our emotions into people. And, you know, when we don't receive that energy back, we're like, wait, why'd you do that to me? Why would you do that to me? That hurts, you know? Can you expand a little bit more on that and what your thought process was like, or maybe if it was a different perspective?
I mean, the way I saw it was that I feel I'm a person that's never been in a relationship with anybody, so I felt like I almost had it, you know, like it's always been like I almost had it, so like I was denied of something that I always wanted, but at the same time I've grown to understand that it was not meant to be, and that was good, because I was not gonna be with somebody that I was not gonna be happy with, that I was probably gonna be struggling with, and it's better to be alone than be with bad company. So even though my happiness was denied, you know, even though I really wanted to be with somebody, it was just not meant to be. So
and I think that situation and these songs in general could serve as a reflection to you, because you can look back and be like, you know, I'm kind of glad things didn't work out the way that I wanted to at this time, because look at how much I've grown and look at the new people that's in my life.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to that, and even for yourself, you'll be able to look back and be like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. And I think that's what's great about releasing music, whether it's something that's really heartbreaking or something that's really positive. It's always like reflecting back to a chapter in your life and kind of reflecting the good and bad times that you've had and how that's helped you grow as a person.
Yeah, I feel like, and that's how I actually end the song, you know. I'm like, I'm glad that I saw the signs, you know. I realized that even though I really wanted you to be here, I'm glad that you're gone. Like, you're no longer part of my life, and I'm growing from this, you know. That's how I end the song. I feel like I needed to talk about what made me sad about the situation, but also what I learned from it, and it was just time for me to move on.
Well, Keanu, I'm so proud of you. From one close friend to another, I can't wait to be by your side, seeing all your accomplishments. I can't wait for everyone to hear this song and see all the great reviews you're going to get. So I can't wait to be more on this journey with you and see your album release coming. Everyone better expect it and like it and keep replaying it.
They're gonna like it. I mean, I'm speaking to the audience right now. I'm like, you know, I tried to make music that not only I could relate to, but other people. I wasn't really just thinking about me. And like I said, a lot of the things that humans go through is a shared experience, you know. So we go through heartbreak in different ways, you know. Sometimes we hurt ourselves we self-sabotage sometimes too. So I hope that people are able to understand what I was going through and also connect with what I was going through.
Well, that's great. I'm so excited for you.